Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. In fact, welcome to a new series. This is the first episode of PS4's Must Play Games. I've been wanting to make a series like this for a while where it's kind of like, not necessarily a let's play, it's kind of a more thoughtful video I guess. And I've had a few different ideas, some of them may come to light. But this is going to be the first episode of, like I said, PS4's Must Play Games. Obviously this is going to be covering what I think is PlayStation 4's best game. So this is all my personal opinion. If you disagree or have any counterpoints or whatever, then be sure to leave it in the comments and we'll have a talk about it. So this first episode is actually going to be covering a PlayStation 4 exclusive, but future episodes might not always be on PlayStation 4 exclusives. They might be on multi-platform games, so games that are also on PC or Xbox One. However, I'm specifically talking about my experience playing on PlayStation 4, since that is the console that I have. So without further ado, this first episode is going to be covering Sucker Punch's infamous Second Son. "2014's third-person action game Infamous Second Son is the sequel to 2011's Infamous 2. Set in a dark, government-controlled version of Seattle, the game puts you in the shoes of a brand new protagonist, Delson Rowe. He is what's known in the game as a conduit. These conduits are at the centre of this world. They are basically people with superpowers, and after the events of Infamous 2, the government wants these potentially dangerous people controlled. Delson's ability allows him to absorb other conduits' powers. There is one fantastic and one disappointing aspect of Infamous's narrative. For people new to this series, it's fantastic as it basically has no direct plot connection to the first game, so you don't need to worry about being lost in the story because it's very self-contained. On the other hand, I found it kind of disappointing, and I think other long-term series fans did too, because it basically has no plot connection to the previous games, which is kind of what you would hope for if you're a long-term fan. It doesn't even really reference the last games. Other than the world that it's set in, it has really no connection to the previous games, so don't expect too much story-wise, linking back to Infamous 1 or 2. One of my favourite things about the narrative, though, is actually the characters. So you have Delson Rowe, who's sort of like a pretty big hipster. So he's sort of like, he like graffitis and all that typical troublemaker stuff. And then you've got his brother, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic because his brother is actually a sheriff, and so his brother kind of has a weird relationship with him where he knows he's doing wrong, and he also knows he's a conduit, which is like illegal, like very illegal in that world. And they both played very well by Troy Baker and Travis Willingham, who are pretty big actors in games. Troy Baker played Joel in The Last of Us, and Travis Willingham actually played Harvey Dent in the new Batman Telltale series, and he also plays one of the main characters in Battlefield Hardline, Carl Stoddard. So yeah, I'm not really setting the game too much so far, but you don't buy this game for the narrative. The best thing about this game by far is the gameplay. So the gameplay is a lot faster. It kind of, if you played Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, it's quite similar, but it's a lot more fast-paced. I'll be showing you gameplay on the screen. I'll be showing gameplay and all kinds of animations and stuff all throughout this video. So the interesting thing about Delson is his power is actually 4 powers. So his power is basically to absorb powers, whereas in Infamous 1 and 2, Cole McGrath's power was electricity primarily. In Infamous 2, you got aspects of other powers, but in this game you get full-on other powers. So you start with smoke, and that kind of also involves fire. And then, as you also would have seen in trailers if you watch them, you get neon. But I'm not going to talk about any other ones because I don't want to spoil it. But each one has like a different playstyle. So smoke is a lot more up close and a lot faster. Like once you upgrade these powers. So once you upgrade smoke to a certain point, it basically becomes like rapid fire. So it's like fully automatic. Whereas with neon, that's a lot more long distance and slow motion. Like when you can have an upgrade so that when you aim in, it goes slow motion. You can either aim for the leg or the head, which brings me to my next point. Infamous Second Son is basically impacted by your choices. So for example, throughout the story there are points where you can choose to do one thing or another. It's not going to be like really in depth like you've learned with Telltale games, but there will be consequences to what you do. And then also there's little gameplay things that you can do to choose whether to be good or bad. So when you aim in, either the head or the foot will be highlighted with that specific neon power, and then if you go for the head, it will kill them, and then that will give you bad karma, which will increase your rank towards Infamous. Or if you shoot the leg, then it will just restrain them, which will increase your good karma and give you more points towards becoming a hero. But moving around the city is a lot of fun, and talking about the city, the game looks fantastic. There's probably better games that have come out since that, like looking wise, but this was the first game graphics wise which I knew couldn't have been done on PS3. Obviously they could have dumbed it down, it probably could have been on PS3, but graphics wise this was definitely a PS4 game. And the atmosphere of the city is also pretty exciting. Like, I've never been to Seattle, but you get a really good sense of place. And one of the things that they focused on was actually weather, and how light reacts with rain and puddles, and it all looks really cool. And one of the reasons that I really enjoy the game is it's not really involved in narrative. It's not like insanely, at least anymore, it's not insanely expensive. It's sort of just a good game. Like, you can just play through it. It's not going to have like any insane emotional impact on you, I don't think, but it's an easy game just to play, and it's fun to just play, and it's one of those games that you don't really have to pay too much attention to. Like, you don't have to be fully involved. Like, you can be listening to music if you want. It's not too involved. It's like just a really fun game to play. This was actually the first game that they put photo mode into, so that's in a lot of games now. It's also in Uncharted and The Last of Us and some other exclusives, as well as other companies have also put similar things in their games. So that's a fun thing just to play around with. If you like that kind of thing, then this game has it, so you can take some cool shots with that. I've tried it. I'm not very good at it. I think I was actually trying to make a video to do with that ages ago, but I was so bad at it, I never even, like, I basically fell at the first hurdle where it was actually being good at using the tool, so I'll show you a bit of that now just so you can get an idea of what that looks like. But it's a really cool feature, and if you're actually any good at photography, then people have actually, like, professional photographers have actually used it and made some pretty cool shots in the game, so that's a good fun feature. As well as this, there's also like collectibles, but they're not really too in-depth. It's just like there's things that you can graffiti on the walls that use like the 6-axis motion control in the PS4 controller, and there's also things that you just go around and pick up, but they don't take too long to get. You can kind of get, I think I got them all within a couple of days, so like I said, in a couple of days you'll have this game 100%ed, which some might think is not very good, but I actually really like it because it's not a game that you have to stick with for ages. It's like you can play it over like a week, and by the end of the week you would have like 100%ed it, and it's kind of, it gives you a good experience in like a short amount of time. It's just a fun game to play, like I keep saying. That's the main point you get this game. If you decide to get this game, then don't get it for narrative. The narrative, like I said, is fine. It's a fine, okay narrative, but it's not like The Last of Us or Uncharted or anything really in-depth. Has its cool moments in the narrative, actually, but the reason that you get this game is for the gameplay. It is really fun to play, which I keep going on about, but it is. And that's the main reason I'm recommending you this game. This has been the first episode of PS4's best games. So if you like this kind of content, it started off a bit more scripted, and then I kind of just get into talking about it. Then be sure to leave that in the comments. Obviously, this is my first time trying this sort of thing, so it might not be too great, but I hope you enjoyed it. As I try to make more of these, if you guys like them, that is, then I'm sure I'll improve, because I'm used to playing Let's Play, so I sort of just talk about what's going on, whereas this is something I have to sort of script to a degree. Like, I scripted part of it, and then I make notes. I'm breaking the fourth wall here, telling you how I made this video. So if you, like I said, if you enjoy it, leave a like. Talk to me in the comments about what you think some of PS4's best game is, and if I agree, then I'm sure we'll see a video on it soon. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more Pokemon Uranium. I uploaded the first part, so yeah, there's more of that to come. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. I'll see you in the next one.